On today's video, I'm going to be replacing the fuel injector valve and sensor on the Stihl TS 500i concrete saw. Since this saw is fuel injected, it has a fuel injector. It does not have a carburetor. When you go ahead and replace one of these, you're going to want to replace the other because there's a complete back end teardown that's required on this, and there's a lot of parts that you got to take off, and you're not going to want to do it again. If you've never worked on one of these before, they can be quite complicated, so know that going into it. The hardest thing about working on these is remembering where every part goes. So I would highly recommend taking lots of videos, lots of pictures, so that way you can keep track of all the parts. And if you want to even be more organized, get baggies, label the parts, put them to the side so that way you don't mess anything up. With the design of this saw, there are step-by-step things that you have to do in order to put the saw back together. If you miss one of the steps, you end up having to tear quite a few parts off to go back and fix the steps you missed. And just remember, these two parts are located all the way up underneath the crank. So you have to take the shroud off, you have to take the manifold off, you have to take the housing assembly off, you have to take the handle off, you have to take the fuel lines off, all the way down so that way you can rotate the back of the case, get in there and take these two parts off. So make sure that you're doing everything right the first time. The reason I'm replacing these two parts is because the unit does not have spark. So normally you would think that the control unit would be the issue because you have a spark plug, it connects to the boot, it connects to the control unit. Well, I replaced this and it still wasn't taking care of the issue. And then underneath the flywheel, you have the generator, which is connected to this. So I went ahead and replaced the generator as well. Still didn't take care of the unit. So I called Stihl Tech Support and they told me that I need to replace the sensor and the fuel injector. So you don't know which one's bad, but once you get in there, you're gonna wanna replace both because they're in the same exact location and you don't wanna have to tear everything apart to do it again. So I'm gonna replace these two parts and see if we can take care of the problem on this unit. Let's jump right into the video and I'll show you how it's done. Go ahead and disconnect all the wires from the control unit. Go ahead and remove the wire retainer. Now remove the plate so you can disconnect the wires. Remove the air guide shroud. Now I'm going to disconnect the AV spring so that way I can access the fuel injector. Remove the air baffle. Take off the air filter cover as well as the air filter. Now go ahead and remove the manifold. I use my rounded end tool to pry loose the manifold. Just make sure you guys are not using the screwdriver to puncture it. Now I'm going to disconnect the fuel lines. It's really important to make sure that you know where they go so when you're reinstalling the new fuel lines, you don't get anything backwards. Again, I'm prying with my rounded end tool to take the fuel line off. Here's the new fuel lines that come with the kit. Now remove the air baffle so you can access the fuel injector as well as a sensor. Remove the two wires from this case. Now I'm going to have to loosen the handle assembly so that way I can rotate the case and have access to the screws to take the sensor off. If you don't do this, you won't be able to access the screws. Notice how the tank flexes away from the case when I pull it up. This gives me just enough clearance to remove the sensor without having to take the tank or the handlebars off completely. If you remove the spark plug, it'll clear the handles better, so that way you have even more room. Once you have the screws removed, go ahead and remove the fuel injector as well as the sensor. Sometimes you got to pull on those or pry on them a little bit because that gasket seal in there makes them a little tight and they stick some. Now install the new sensor as well as the fuel injector. Run the wire that has the white end on it through the air baffle assembly before you reinstall it. Now install the wires into the rail on the air baffle assembly. Now reinstall your fuel lines. They do give you a new replacement of the short section as well. Make sure that you guys are putting the lines in the right position, because if you don't and you disconnect something wrong, it's not going to work right. So if you took lots of videos and pictures before, just refer to what you did. Now reinstall the manifold. Re-secure the screws on the handlebar. Secure the manifold to the air housing. Reconnect the AD spring. Install the air baffle as well as the choke cable. Here's a look at everything back into place. Install the air shroud as well as the wiring into the grooves. Here's a completed view of the wires. Install the generator wire and lock it into place. The generator ground will be installed to this plate as you're screwing it back in. Install the fan cover. Install the air filter and cover. Install the retainer. Install the control unit and reconnect all the wires. The plugs are color coordinated, so all you got to do is match the plugs. There are two white plugs. The one on the very end towards the air filter is going to be for the shroud. Reinstall the shroud as well as the throttle cable and you'll be all set. And don't forget to hook this wiring harness above the shroud there in that little groove so that way it doesn't get pinched. Only 4 screws to attach the shroud.
If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you guys like the video down below and subscribe to my channel. I got lots of the great content of the repairs that come through the shop on a daily basis, tools, tips, and tricks that I use to get the customer's equipment back in the field. And make sure you guys check out the description in the video. I list the tools that you can purchase off of Amazon through my Amazon affiliate links account. If you want to help support the channel, it's a great way to do it. So thanks for watching the video, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.